It's Dave Joe for Punchout Boxing. Pleased to be joined by my illustrious colleagues Ra Hokum and Carl Hall, Team Punchout Boxing, discussing the affair between Joyce and I can't even pronounce this heavyweight's first name, so I'm just going to say Mr. Zhang tomorrow night. Ra, you'll be attending the fight. Carl and I will be watching from home. Um, First off, before we get into predictions, Ra, you've been there most of fight week. What's fight week been like?
Fun, chilled out. The two personalities involved. They don't have that sort of edge to them. Joyce, one of the nicest guys you'll meet outside of the ring, and Zhang, he's got that sort of Asian respectfulness. It was interesting at the workout. He waited behind and patiently spoke to everyone. As you guys know, us smaller media outlets often don't get access to, main event stars, but he was happy to speak to everyone. And yeah, just got that sort of professionalism, and he'll be courteous to everyone all through. So it was good. Really, really chilled out. But yeah, they don't lend for much needle. And I don't know if you saw the press conference. Obviously, there's a language barrier as well, but yeah, that was more amusing than anything. But when they get in the ring, all those niceties are going to go. Make no mistake about that.
Carl, one of the quotes I read this week on Fight Week was everybody has a plan until they punch me in the face. Joyce, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, he has got a granite chin, hasn't he?
Yeah, I was just going to say, everyone obviously talks about this granite chin that he's got, and I'm pretty sure, I think, I don't think I'm misquoting Ra from the interview, but I think you said, how is he going to fare in terms of trying to soften up his chin? And it is going to be interesting, to be fair, because I think Zhang's probably got the better one punch knockout potential out of the two. Jojo is obviously a very big hitter, but I think Zhang's got that more of the one punch power behind him. So it'll be interesting to see what he thinks when he lands a big shot. If he lands a big shot on Joyce and he potentially does nothing and just stands there and just takes it. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be an interesting one in terms of Zhang's power, his pedigree so far, 24 and 1. I think the only loss he's had is to Hrgovic. How much of that are you reading into going into the fight? Do you think that loss defines him? I mean, he was quite, should we just say he was a bit upset, wasn't he, when he was talking to you, Rob?
Yeah, but again, I think over there, they're very what's the word? Stoic. They're expected to be professional, as he said. Puts it behind him, gets straight back onto the horse. So yeah, he didn't mope around complaining about the decision. I don't think that would define him. What I think it did show is that he is a genuine world level operator, because Hrgovic for years has been talked about as this, the next great heavyweight. Some might doubt that now, but no, I think he's going to do something. And I'll tell you what, the whole issue around Joyce's chin and Zhang's power, the proverbial immovable object against the irresistible force. Don't underestimate Zhang's boxing ability. He's got a great amateur pedigree, every bit as good as Joyce's. And I wouldn't be surprised if he boxes sensibly. So yeah, this could be a banana skin for Joyce. So yeah, I'm going to be watching with fascination.
Carl, what do you think? Do you think this is one of those fights where it could then again reshape the heavyweight landscape if Zhang beats Joyce on home soil?
Yeah, I think we all are. I think with things we've spoken about in the past, I think we're all admirers of the kind of that kind of Asian culture and that respectful nature that they come with. And I think that's one of the things that I'm almost, I don't know how it's going to go tomorrow, but I'm almost rooting for Zhang a little bit weirdly. Um, because I think he's got enough about him to get the job done, and I absolutely do think that this can shape the heavyweight division again, because if he does beat Joe Joyce, nobody's really talking about Joe Joyce and AJ and Fury off the bat. They're like, okay, well, Zhang's up here now. He's one to fight, and I think maybe Fury might jump at the opportunity of fighting him before an AJ bout, or AJ might jump at fighting Zhang, because I think if he beats Joe Joyce, people would still look at him as the lesser operator out of all of them, but he definitely would redefine the heavyweight division again, because I don't think lots of people would expect him to get a result. Whereas I think maybe if we're looking at it and the kind of respect that we have for their respectfulness, you think quiet operator could get the job done, definitely.
He's got enough about him, hasn't he? I mean, before we go into predictions, Joe Joyce, if he does beat Zhang, what would you like to see him next in?
Of course, we'd all love to see him by rights get a crack at the heavyweight title, the full heavyweight title. Both Fury and Usyk, they've all that furore has really held things up, and Joyce has been one of the victims of that. And you do have that worry when someone keeps taking hard fights over and over again, like we saw with Dillian White when he eventually slipped up against Povetkin. It can happen. I'd be very surprised if there isn't a rematch clause in this. But having spoke to Adam Morali at the workout, he did say after this there's a good chance, he's fairly confident, that they could get Fury over the summer, since that undisputed fight looks off the table for now. And that'd be a fitting fight for him. And again, really fascinating. I somewhat suspect Fury doesn't have as much appetite for the sport as a lot of his talk would suggest. And I've already made the bold prediction. I think Fury loses to the next top heavyweight that he fights. And that could be Joe Joyce. That might be the problem for Joe. If he goes in there and does his usual juggernaut work and stops Zhang, as most people predict he will when Zhang fades, then someone like Fury will probably see him as too dangerous, and again he'll just be left out in the wilderness, looking for another big fight this summer. And invariably it might have to be someone very dangerous without much reward. But, I mean, yeah, if they could make the Fury fight for the summer, that'd be very satisfactory for me.
Yeah, I mean, he's still ranked. Joe Joyce is quite high in the WBC and the IBF, isn't he, Carl? In terms of the ranking, so naturally that should be the fight for Joe Joyce, which is a crack at the world WBC heavyweight title. I mean, would you like to see him have another crack at Daniel Dubois for his title, the WBA regular strap? I mean, that's still a world title, isn't it? Or has he got nothing left to prove in that fight?
I mean, I'd still like to see it. I think there's potentially more opportunity. I said there's probably more chance of that happening with, like Raz mentioned, with all the flaw that's gone on between fighters at that level. You almost kind of feel like everyone's trying to walk away from each other, and that might be other than obviously Usyk, but that might be the only immediate fight that he could get, and I'd be up for seeing it again, definitely. I think it would be as kind of one-sided as it was previously? No, definitely not. But it'd be interesting to see how far he's come since that first bout, definitely.
It'd be an interesting one. Right then, guys. Predictions. Ra, you're going to be there fight night. Make sure to tweet Ra as well if he gets this wrong. But we'll go to you first, Ra. No pressure. How do you see this fight unfolding tomorrow?
Well, you know me, I always like an off-key prediction, but because I like Joe Joyce, I'm going to refrain from it. I will go with the conventional wisdom. I think he'll survive a few rocky early moments, and then the juggernaut machine will chug into motion and wear Zhang down and get to him rounds 8 to 10. But a little caveat, I would not be surprised at all if Zhang was to fight a tactical, perfect fight and get a decision.
Is there a rematch clause as well, Ra? From what
I
you?
do believe there is. It would be
Yeah,
foolish not to.
yeah,
So,
that would be an
yeah.
interesting one. Carl, what do you think? How do you see this unfolding tomorrow night?
Yeah, I kind of went out there with the Franklin prediction and got it terribly wrong to be fair. Um, and much like Ra, I think I'm probably going to stick to my brain with this one and go with the Joe Joyce win. I think his stamina will play a key factor in it. Um, I don't think his granite chin that we talk about is going to be a huge factor because I do think Zhang has that power. He's going to rock him a few times, but I do think that Joe Joyce has got more than enough to see it out. I think the struggle that I had that I think with Zhang potentially getting a decision win is just because of where the fight is. I think we can be
Yeah,
quite honest in that people getting a decision in the UK from being from outside of the UK is quite a difficult thing at the moment. Well, he might deserve it, but whether he still gets it or not, I don't know. So Joe Joyce on points.
okay. I will. I'm favouring towards Raw. I think rounds 8 to 10, Joe Joyce. The engine kicks in. He'll probably take a few shots, land some heavy hitting shots, but the engine will take over, and I can see him possibly stopping Zhang for a valiant effort from Zhang. So yeah, I can't back against Joe Joyce. You know, he is. I mean, I followed him through his first fight against Ian Lewison, the WBS. Every time I spoke to when he was signed with David Hay and Adam Morali and Sam Jones at the time, were saying, look, we have to fast track him because of his age. So one or two steps wrong, he could be back at the pecking order, back at the list of the heavyweight contention. So I can only see a Joe Joyce victory. Um, so yeah, there you have it. Make sure to have a look at Ra's tweets over our Twitter page tomorrow for all the action. Carl, you've got an interview coming out with Gully Power on Monday, haven't you? New heavy.
Yeah, really really enjoyed spending time with them down at the gym in Wolverhampton. To be fair, it was good. He's a unbelievably well spoken young lad, and I really do hope that he does well. And I'd be interested to start following his career properly and rooting for him. But it should be a good interview on Monday. It's more there's a lot of talk about his personal life because obviously we want to get to know the fighters, and I think that's something we're all going to start doing on the channel as well with some of the lesser known fighters. We'll do some extensive interviews with them. It'd be good.
Good stuff. Make sure to look out for that. And then I'll be commentating on the TM14 card next Saturday with Dan Aziz and Denzel Bentley. Um, and we may even get someone to the weigh-in in Cardiff as well. Might even be me. So we've got a busy week ahead of us next week. Ra, enjoy the fight. Look out for his fight updates. Carl, we'll catch up with you on Monday, and all the best from Team Punchout.
Thanks, gents.